The Meridian Consensus hung in the void between stars, a diplomatic vessel carrying humanity's first official delegation to the galactic Concordat. Dr. Alex Chen stood at the observation deck, watching the assembled fleet of alien warships maintain their precise formations, a show of force disguised as an honor guard. "They're beautiful, aren't they?" Lisa Ward appeared beside him, her reflection ghosting across the transparent aluminum. She wore the formal attire of a human security attaché, but Alex knew better. Lisa was Earth's insurance policy, wrapped in diplomatic courtesy. "Beautiful and terrifying," Alex replied. 7 different species, each with weapons technology centuries ahead of ours, all here to witness whether humanity deserves a seat at the table. Lisa's hand drifted to her hip where her sidearm should have been. The Concordat had forbidden weapons at the negotiations. She'd complied officially. "You've read the xenoanthropology reports. What do you think our chances are?" Alex pulled up a holographic display, cycling through data on the Concordat species. The Cathara believe combat prowess determines diplomatic standing. The Vexnari value technological superiority. The Rithani respect strategic acumen above all else. We're outmatched in every category they care about. "Every category they know about," Lisa corrected, a slight smile playing at her lips. The negotiation chamber was a marvel of engineering, a spherical room where artificial gravity could be adjusted for each species' comfort zone. The human delegation sat in their designated section, surrounded by beings that ranged from insectoid to energy-based constructs. Ambassador Patricia Okonkwo led the human team with practiced grace, but 3 hours into the proceedings, Alex could see the situation deteriorating. The Concordat representatives weren't hostile exactly. They were dismissive. "Your species has barely achieved faster-than-light travel," the Cathara war leader chittered through his translator. "You possess no unique technological advantages. Your military consists of kinetic weapons and chemical propellants, technology we abandoned millennia ago. Why should the Concordat grant you full membership rather than protectorate status?" Ambassador Okonkwo maintained her composure. "Humanity offers fresh perspectives. Our recent emergence means we approach problems without the baggage of ancient conflicts." The Rithani strategic mind pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. Perspective is inadequate currency. The Concordat operates on demonstrated capability. In 12 standard cycles, we will conduct the integration trials. Your species must prove it can contribute meaningfully to our collective defense and prosperity. Alex leaned toward Lisa. Integration trials weren't mentioned in the preliminary communications. "No," Lisa whispered back, "they weren't." The trials began the following day. The Concordat had constructed a simulation environment, a pocket of manipulated spacetime where combat scenarios could unfold with real consequences for those inside, but no permanent damage to the external universe. The first trial tested technological adaptation. Humanity's team of engineers performed admirably, but placed 4th out of 8 species. The second trial measured strategic planning in resource-scarce environments. The human delegation managed 3rd place, earning respectful nods from the Rithani but little else. The third trial was combat assessment. "Each species will send a single champion," the Cathara announced. "They will face a standardized threat scenario. Performance will be measured on survival time, threat neutralization efficiency, and tactical innovation." Alex watched from the observation chamber as, one by one, alien champions entered the simulation. The Cathara warrior used advanced energy weapons and tactical shields, surviving 18 minutes before being overwhelmed. The Vexnari employed swarm drones and lasted 22 minutes. The Rithani champion, using predictive algorithms and adaptive weaponry, set a new record at 31 minutes. When humanity's turn came, Lisa stood. "That's unexpected," the Rithani strategic mind pulsed. We anticipated your military specialist or perhaps your enhanced combat cyborg. We don't have combat cyborgs, Ambassador Okonkwo said. Ms. Ward is our security attaché and a decorated veteran of the Martian frontier conflicts. The Kathara's mandibles clicked in what the translator interpreted as amusement. She carries no visible weapons, no armor, no enhancement modules. Is this a forfeit? Lisa smiled. I was told no weapons were permitted on the Meridian Consensus. I complied with that regulation. However, the trial takes place in a simulation environment, doesn't it? The Concordat officials exchanged glances, or their species equivalents. Correct. Within the simulation, you may manifest any equipment your species has historically employed. Perfect, Lisa said, and stepped into the transition field. The simulation environment materialized around her, a ruined cityscape with multiple elevation levels, choke points, and limited sightlines. The standardized threat began spawning. Autonomous combat drones operating on Concordat-level AI, using energy weapons and coordinated pack tactics. In the observation chamber, holographic displays showed Lisa's biometrics alongside tactical overlays. Alex watched her pause, close her eyes, and take a deep breath. When she opened them, her hands moved. 2 revolvers appeared in her grip, not modern energy weapons, not railguns or plasma casters. Earth-manufactured revolvers, barely modified from designs that were centuries old. The Kathara's translator emitted a sound that might have been laughter. Kinetic weapons, chemical propellants, this will be brief. The first drone swarm rounded the corner, 12 units moving in precise formation. Lisa moved differently than the previous champions. Where they had sought cover and established defensive positions, she advanced. Where they had relied on their weapons' capabilities, she relied on something else entirely. The first shot rang out, a sound alien to most of the Concordat species, the sharp crack of a chemical propellant igniting. 1 drone fell, its central processing unit destroyed. The second shot came before the first shell casing hit the ground. Another drone dropped. Lisa was moving, running at an angle that forced the drones to adjust their targeting solutions. Her third and fourth shots came simultaneously, both revolvers speaking. 2 more drones destroyed. She dove behind a wall fragment, reloaded both weapons with a speed that made her hands blur, and emerged firing. Impossible, the Vexnari representative buzzed. The reaction time required to aim and fire those primitive weapons against multiple moving targets exceeds biological capabilities. Alex couldn't suppress his smile. You based your assessment on average human capabilities. Lisa isn't average. She's been training since she was 6 years old. Muscle memory, pattern recognition, spatial awareness, all honed through millions of repetitions. The simulation continued. Lisa moved through the environment like water flowing downhill, always taking the path of least resistance but maximum efficiency. The drones adapted, changing tactics, trying flanking maneuvers and suppressive fire patterns. Lisa adapted faster. At the 15-minute mark, she'd eliminated 47 drones without taking a hit. The previous record was 31 eliminations. The observation chamber had fallen silent. Her weapons have limited ammunition capacity, the Rathani noted. She must reload frequently, creating vulnerability windows. Watch, Alex said. Lisa approached a drone cluster, fired her last rounds from both revolvers, then hurled one of the empty weapons at the nearest drone's optical sensor. While it recalibrated, she closed the distance, retrieved a drone's energy weapon from a previous casualty, used it to destroy 3 more units, then recovered her thrown revolver and reloaded while moving to new cover. The Kathara war leader leaned forward. She's using their technology against them, adapting in real time. But those primitive weapons, why maintain them when superior options become available? Because, Lisa's voice came through the simulation feed. "These weapons I understand completely. Their weight, their recoil, their timing, it's all in my bones. Your fancy energy weapons are more powerful, sure, but they're not mine. Not yet." At 25 minutes, the simulation escalated. Heavier drones appeared, ones that had overwhelmed previous champions. Lisa assessed the new threat, and her tactics shifted again. She started using the environment more aggressively, collapsing structures onto enemy positions, creating choke points, turning the drones' coordination against them by forcing them into positions where their numbers became a disadvantage. 30 minutes, she passed the Rathani's record. 35 minutes, still fighting, though her movements showed fatigue. The revolvers had been supplemented by improvised weapons, drone components turned into crude clubs, energy cells rigged as explosives. At 42 minutes and 16 seconds, the simulation ended, not because Lisa had been eliminated, but because she destroyed every single hostile unit in the environment. The simulation couldn't generate them fast enough to replace her elimination rate. Silence filled the observation chamber. Lisa emerged from the transition field, sweat-soaked and breathing hard but grinning. "How'd I do?" The Cathara war leader stood, a gesture that translated as profound respect across most species. In 300 cycles of integration trials, no champion has ever achieved complete threat elimination. Your combat theory is incomprehensible to us. "That's because it's not really theory," Alex said, standing beside his colleague. "Humanity spent most of its existence fighting itself. We didn't have the luxury of developing weapons and tactics against a single type of enemy. We had to be adaptable because our opponents were as creative and unpredictable as we were. Those revolvers, they're not primitive, they're refined. Centuries of incremental improvements, each one paid for in blood and survival." The Rathani strategic mind pulsed thoughtfully. "We have become specialists, each species optimizing for known threats. You remain generalists, prepared for unknown variables." Ambassador Okonkwo seized the moment. "That's precisely what humanity offers the Concordat. We don't have your advanced technology or your centuries of spacefaring experience. But we have adaptability, creativity born from necessity, and the kind of practical combat experience that comes from being relative newcomers to the galactic stage." The Concordat representatives conferred in their various communication methods. Finally, the Cathara spoke. "The integration trials have 3 components. Humanity placed adequately in the first 2. In the third, you have demonstrated a capability we did not anticipate and cannot easily replicate. This constitutes strategic value." "Full membership?" Ambassador Okonkwo asked. "Provisional membership, with accelerated review in 20 cycles rather than the standard 100. Your species has earned the opportunity to prove yourselves further." As the negotiations concluded successfully, Alex found Lisa at the observation deck again. She was cleaning one of her revolvers. Though they'd only existed in simulation, the habit remained. "You know they're going to want to study you," Alex said. "Figure out how human combat instincts work." Lisa smiled, spinning the cylinder closed with a practiced motion. "Let them study. Every species in the Concordat has forgotten what it's like to fight with everything on the line using whatever tools you have available. Maybe it's time someone reminded them." "Think we'll fit in out here?" "Probably not," Lisa admitted. "But maybe that's exactly why they need us."